To Red 50, thank you for tuning into another video. If you're new to the channel, thank you for stopping by. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos. So I've got an update video for you guys on the chip shortage that Ford has been experiencing. Well, all the auto manufacturers are currently experiencing around the globe. Due to the pandemic, the chip shortage has been pretty bad around the globe and is costing auto manufacturers over billions of dollars lost in revenue. Now, if you guys recall from my earlier video where I talked about the Mustang production being halted, well, that was related to the chip shortage, if you guys recall that. So what happened basically, late April, Ford announced that Mustang production is going to be halted for 2 weeks because of the chip shortage, because they're just not able to get enough chips to get the cars rolling. Well, Ford just recently put out an update that the chip shortage, or because of the chip shortage, they're going to be extending that downtime in the production by another 2 weeks, and they don't anticipate the chip shortage is getting better anytime soon. Now, this Ford chip shortage is not only affecting Mustang like I previously reported, this is also going to affect the Bronco, Ranger, and pretty much all the other cars in their lineup, and it's going to result in a significant production decrease. So could be all sorts of side effects with that, like price increases, not being able to find new cars that you really wanted, and obviously as a result, used car prices are going to increase because if someone can't find a 2021 Mustang, they want a 2020 Mustang that's probably used a few miles down there, and there's just more demand for it, so it's just going to result in higher asking price for those kind of cars. In that video, we also discussed that Ford F-150, which is the best-selling Ford vehicle out there, is also forced to be sold with a couple of chips removed, specifically the active fuel management module. So basically, Ford decided they don't want to lose out on F-150 sales because, like we know, it's a best-selling Ford vehicle out there, so they want to capitalize on that. However, because of chip shortage, they're only able to allocate so many chips out there, so they have decided that for the fuel active management system, they're going to remove the chip and sell the trucks as is, and obviously as the chips become available, they're going to maybe have a letter out to you that you can get into your dealer. They'll install it for you for free, obviously, but this kind of helps out if you are trying to purchase F-150. You don't have to wait because of the delays like the Mustang is currently experiencing. Now, initially when Ford said that there are going to be loss in revenue, obviously because of the chip shortage, because of the productions being stopped or halted for a bit, they initially predicted that it's going to result in loss of 17% revenue, which is pretty steep for a big company like Ford, but it was somewhat manageable given the condition of the pandemic that we're all in. However, just recently, Ford announced that this chip shortage is going to result them in a 50% loss in production value, which means the revenue could be lost up to $2.5 billion in revenue. And this is just Ford. So this chip shortage is being affected by all manufacturers. So just imagine what every manufacturer is going through. Once you kind of combine that figure or tally that figure up, it amounts to a lot of money that is going to be lost during 2020, 2021. Initially, when I started reading about the chip shortage, I heard some of the industry analysts were saying that it could result into $65 billion in revenue, lost revenue in 2021. And I kind of thought it was a little bit extreme because there's no way they're going to be losing that much revenue. But if Ford is losing about $2.5 billion revenue, there's so many car manufacturers out there. I can only imagine what the impact is going to be throughout all those car manufacturers. And $61 billion kind of seems believable now, unfortunately. Now, based on all the research and everything I've been reading up and what Ford has officially put out, which I'll leave the links in the description if you want to read the official articles, they're saying that they don't anticipate the chip shortage to get completely better until 2022. So that's going to really suck. However, the good news is, or somewhat of a good news is, they kind of expect the chip supplies to pick up around the end of Q2, which would be end of June. So that's good news. Hopefully they'll start ramping up the chip supplies, and you'll still have production issues, but it's not going to be as massive as what we're currently experiencing. Now, obviously, the downside with that is, as we discussed in my previous video too, that with the chip shortage, manufacturers are going to have to figure out how to allocate the chips. And what some manufacturers are doing, specifically Mercedes, is they are using those chips conservatively, and they want to make sure that they put them in cars that are going to sell. So one, if the car doesn't sell well, they may not decide to use the chips on that, because if Ford sells it to the dealer, then it's just going to sit on the lot. It's kind of a waste of money. Or maybe the dealer doesn't want the allocation because they know it's going to just sit on the lot. So Ford is trying to put chips. So for Ford, it would be like F-150, Mustang. You get the point, right? The other side of that is they may start optioning out cars before they leave the factory, which would mean that if you're looking for a Mustang, you may not be able to get a base Mustang because Ford wants to maximize their profit. In the end, they're a company, right? So they want to be able to maximize their profit. They may start selling Mustangs that are fully loaded, or if not fully loaded, then at least a premium or performance pack 1. So for those of buyers out there who just want a base EcoBoost or base Mustang GT, they may be not that lucky this time around. So we'll see what Ford ends up doing. I really hope they don't increase the price. But overall, I just hope the chip shortage just gets better over time and we don't have to worry about all this lost revenue, price possibly increasing, and just manufacturers taking a lot of losses. Alright guys, well that's my thoughts on the stopping of the production on Ford vehicles specifically. I really hope this gets better sooner than later because like we said, it's going to be a domino effect. We're going to be paying more for the cars, we're going to be experiencing a lot of shortage, and manufacturers might start just cutting cars out because they don't make profit, there's chip shortage. They might just say like, look, we're not going to make Mustangs anymore. So we definitely don't want that to happen. So comment below on your thoughts on the chip shortage. When do you think it's going to be resolved? And as always, like and subscribe to Red 50 for future videos.